What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the Comeback Pod. Today, I know you can see by the title, we talking about NBA basketball again. Playoffs is now. Like I feel like the season went by so fast. Um, just the other day we were just watching the first game of the regular season. It feels like for me, but now it's time to talk about the plan. It's time to talk about our playoff predictions and everything. So this first video is going to be talking about my Eastern Conference playoff picture predictions. It's going to be talking about a little bit of everything about the playoffs. I just want to get a deep dive or my thoughts about each team in the East and just what I think is going to happen. So first thing we want to talk about now is play-in matchups. So the first matchup we're going to see is Hawks versus Bulls. I don't really have much to say about this game, really. For the Hawks side, I was predicting them at the beginning of the season to have like a really good year. I mean, we saw some injuries from Trae Young. We've seen now with the team, we've seen Trae Young by himself, and we've seen DeJounte by himself. And me personally, I think they should keep Trae, but a lot of people are on the DeJounte Murray train right now. I don't see why. If you look at the plus minuses, I believe it's like a -5 with both of them on the court. I believe it's +4 with DeJounte and then +5 with Trae. So it's both ways. It's been a good team. And then when Trae Young did get injured, they were winning games. But I just don't see a world where DeJounte Murray could be your first option. Maybe could be a second option on a championship team, but I don't know. I wouldn't build around DeJounte Murray, me personally. But Trae Young has showed us that he could be a top 10 offense in himself. He could average over 30 points and 10 plus assists. Like, I just don't see why you would trade something like that. So, I would rather them trade both before they trade just Trae Young. So we'll see what happens to them in the offseason. We've seen reports that they're probably going to end up trading one of them in the offseason. So let's see. If Trae Young goes to the Spurs, though, like I'm seeing some predictions saying, I got the Spurs as a playoff team. I think with Victor, I know this is not the Western Conference video right now, but we're going to get into it. I feel like Victor with an actual point guard that can find him when he's open is going to be something crazy, something that we've never seen. They're already calling him the alien right now. He's doing crazy stuff already. I personally think he should win Defensive Player of the Year, but I understand why they want to give it to Rudy. He's the best defensive player on the best defensive team in the game. You got to give it to Rudy, even though 4-time defender doesn't even sound right for Rudy Gobert in my opinion. So, yeah, I think an actual traditional point guard with Victor is going to be a problem. So don't let that happen. All right, so let's talk about the Bulls. With the Bulls, really, I just don't see anything for this team. I feel like they're letting it go for too long. The Bulls are just not a team that I take serious. Zach LaVine's a good guy. DeMar DeRozan's still a good player. Vucevic is a good player. He's not the player that he used to be. Obviously, the all-star caliber center that he was on the Magic, but he's still a great player. I'm just happy to see that Lonzo was cleared to play basketball. Obviously, he's not going to play in the playoffs this year, obviously. But we're going to see Lonzo play basketball again next season, which was not something that was really promised to us. I'm not going to lie. So, yeah, I'm just happy that we're going to be able to see Lonzo play basketball for the first time, and it feels like I think it's really been 2 or 3 years, but it feels like it's been like 5, 6 for real. So, any bright spots with the Bulls, though, is like I really like Alex Caruso. I really like Kobe White. The emergence of Kobe White has been something that's amazing. If it wasn't for the man Tyrese Maxey, who we're going to talk about in the next round of the play-in, I think he would be most improved player. But tell me in the comments what y'all think is more improving, like going from a role player kind of guy to a all-star caliber guy, or going from what do I call Maxey a role? Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, Maxey's like more like he was like a certified starter, but not really all-star star level. So now going from that to star level, or would you rather have Kobe White, who was going from maybe your average player, somebody that a lot of people were giving up on, to now coming into like that certified starter, certified role player, like the build around? Who would you give most improved player to? I'm gonna talk about that in another video as well. My award prediction. So look out for that video as well. But yeah, so those are really the only bright spots that I really have with the Bulls. I think the negatives right now, obviously, is that they should have blew it up a while ago. I feel like you're seeing now that you're not going to really get that much back for a Zach LaVine trade or DeMar DeRozan trade or anything like that. They should have traded them while they still could, while they still had some type of like potential to get anything good back. So, yeah, that's really all I got to say about the Bulls. So for that matchup though, who do I think is gonna win? I think I have the Hawks winning. Trae Young is 3-0 in the play-in tournaments. So, and Trae Young's finally back. I think we haven't seen Trae Young do like anything over, I believe, like 24 points in his last couple games since he's been back. He hasn't really been doing too crazy, but I feel like in this play-in scenario, he's gonna show you why he's Trae Young. So I got them winning the first play-in match. So next tournament or next seeds we got to talk about is we're talking about Miami versus 76ers. Now this is a hard matchup. We're still trying to figure out what's going on with Embiid. Unfortunately, he's just dealing with so many knick-knack injuries, and I honestly feel bad for Embiid. Like I feel like if he was healthy this whole season, then he probably would have ran away with this MVP just because of how great he was starting. I remember he was averaging like 36, 35 points per game, which is crazy. He was looking like unstoppable, looking like one of the most unstoppable players in basketball, but which we know he can be when he's healthy. So, and then the 76ers brought in a lot of acquisitions over the offseason that I felt like, throughout the season that I felt like pushed them over the edge. Like the Buddy Hield pickup is actually like amazing to me. So you got that, and then the Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry's been great for this team. A really good leader with Joel Embiid being out. Just he's always been like that in his career. So now you have like I think they have a lot of depth. You got Tyrese Maxey, you got Buddy Hield, you got Kelly Oubre, who's very underrated. Tobias Harris, who's very underrated. I think it all just relies down on Joel Embiid's health. So we will see. And then you got the Miami Heat, who, in my opinion, I always say this though, their lineup, their roster is not anything crazy to me, but they always figure out a way to just push through and do it. I don't know how they do it. It's Jimmy Butler, obviously, but it's just it has to be more than that. It can't just be one player. But yeah, so I think the 76ers are going to win the first game of the play-in. I know it's Miami Heat. They're like, oh, in the playoffs, they're a whole different team. You got playoff Jimmy and stuff like that. I just feel like with Joel Embiid healthy, this team is insane. Like you have Bam is not what I thought Bam was going to be. I thought Bam was going to take his jump this season. I thought he was going to take a step. I thought his defensively he was going to take a step. I think I had him in top 3 defensive player of the year nods before the season started. I don't remember. If y'all remember the video, y'all can tell me in the comments. But I'll go check it out after this video, obviously. But I just want to see if you've been watching. But yeah, I thought he was going to be. He has top 3 defensive center in the league upside because he can guard 1 through 5. He's actually really good on the perimeter because he is low key a smaller center. But I just don't see a way where Bam Adebayo is going to stop Joel Embiid in 7 games. In a 1-game elimination series. So I got Embiid and them winning that playing game. So then we have Miami matching up against the Hawks in my opinion of how it's gonna go. And I think the Miami Heat win this game. I just can't see a way Jimmy Butler allows his team to go out this game. Jimmy Butler, if he has to play every minute of the game to get his team in the playoffs, I think he will. We've seen Jimmy Butler over the past couple of years in the playoffs become a monster. He's literally brought his team to the finals 2 times when nobody thought he could, even giving the Nuggets the freest win of their life. But this season, I don't think that's happening because if you're the A seed, you know who you're matching up against, them Celtics, and I don't know what to tell them boys. I'm talking about them at the end of this one, but I don't know what to tell the Heat, man. I just don't think it's going to be as easy as they think it's going to be. So yeah, I feel like their best circumstance is that they win the first playing game against the Sixers, and they're the 7th seed, so they end up playing the Knicks in the first round. I would love to play the Knicks in the first round, me personally. So if they could do that, I know they would like to do that more than playing the Celtics in the first round. So yeah. So how I'm gonna do it is I'm gonna just talk about every team, and then I'll talk about my predictions. So I'll talk about the matchups with my predictions because obviously my predictions might be false, so I don't want to talk about the teams I have matching up against each other and then they just don't match up against each other. So first I'm going to talk about each team in my depth and how I look at them, how I view them in their playoff scenarios, and yeah, and then we're going to talk about my matchups, I think, and then I'll talk about who I think is going to win, who I think is going to make it to the finals. Just to clear stuff up so you're not confused watching the video. So with the 6th seed, we have the Pacers securing that. The Pacers are a really good team. After Tyrese Halliburton's injury after the All-Star break, he came back not really the same player. At first, people were labeling him as the best point guard in the league, which I think we've seen now that's just not true. The hype behind Tyrese Halliburton has definitely gone down just a little bit. Even though I still think he is a top 5 guard in the East, I still think he's a top. I don't want to throw it out without me having like the real number in my head, but he's top 10 point guard in the league, obviously. But his passing upside is amazing. He's not really a slouch on defense. I think he pokes the ball loose a lot. So I think Tyrese Halliburton could be a good leader for this team, and we're finally going to be able to see him in a scenario where he's going to be able to lead his team in the playoffs. So, yeah, we got Tyrese Halliburton, and you got obviously Pascal, which the pickup has been okay. I feel like they're gelling a little better now as of recently, but when he first came, it was a little shaky. But I think that they can get a couple games off against the Bucks. They just have a unfortunate matchup against the Bucks. The Bucks, I think, did things perfectly by losing that last game, so they can obtain the 3 seed, so they can play the Pacers. Like, if I'm the Bucks, I wouldn't want to play Embiid in the first round either, or the Miami in the first round. So I feel like playing the Pacers is actually better than playing the Heat or the Sixers. So yeah, back on the Pacers, they have good people that I like, but it's just I don't see anything on this roster that pushes the limits against me for them to get over the hump. Like, there's nothing on this team that makes me confident in saying that they'll win a playoff series. So I'm personally going to say they're going to lose their first round matchup against the Bucks. Obviously, we'll get into the Bucks later, obviously in a couple more teams. But yeah, it's just I like the Pacers. I like what the Pacers have done, and I see a lot of Chris Paul and Tyrese Halliburton. So I really love Tyrese Halliburton's game. But I think you got to give them a couple more years, and I want them to get like another, I don't know what kind of player I want to see them obtain. Maybe like I don't know. Hopefully Benedict Mathurin can like develop into that player that I'm thinking. Like I don't think they need anything too overly crazy, because they have like building blocks. They have Halliburton, they have Pascal, and they have Miles Turner. But I hope Benedict Mathurin turns into that scorer that I think he needs to be for this team to get over the hump. So the next team that we're going to talk about is the 5-seeded Orlando Magic. Orlando Magic basketball has been amazing. 5 seed for them is probably like, it's a win-win for their team, their organization. I don't think Orlando fans are sitting here like, oh no, we got to win a playoff series for this to be a successful season. I think making the playoffs is very successful. You're seeing all these young guys that have developed and are going to have a lot more time to develop. You have Franz playing amazing next to Paolo, and I love Jalen Suggs. They haven't even really been using Anthony Black like that. I love Markelle Fultz. I love Cole Anthony. Jonathan Isaac used to be one of my favorite players in the league. I feel like if Jonathan Isaac can be healthy, he can show people why he is a top 5 defender in this league. But I really, really love what the Orlando Magic have going on. Jalen Suggs is a hooper. He's like one of those energy guys that I love. Like, it's just the amount of energy that Jalen Suggs has on the court at all times is just amazing. So I love Magic basketball. I love watching Magic games. Paolo being that point guard, that facilitator of the team. I didn't think that's what it was going to end up being, but he's actually really good and has developed over the season to be a really good playmaker. And Franz, I already knew what Franz could do, but Franz's skill set is amazing. If Franz and Paolo are hitting more threes, then I think it might be over for the league in a couple years. I feel like they have one of the best young cores in basketball. So, but obviously they're matching up against the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are my most underrated team in the playoffs, and I'll talk about them next, right after the Magic. But the Cavs are definitely my most underrated team, and I think that this game probably goes to 6, maybe 5. I just don't think the Magic are ready for the playoffs yet. But Magic fans, you have a very, very bright future, almost low-key like the Houston Rockets, but obviously we're not talking about West teams in this video, but yeah, almost like the Houston Rockets. So I love what I'm seeing from the Orlando Magic. The next team that we're going to be talking about is the Cleveland Cavaliers, man. It's been a little while since I've been confident in the Cavs, all the way since LeBron, for real. So this year we're finally seeing that Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, even though they were low-key in and out the lineups throughout the year, and Evan Mobley was dealing with injuries, and then they got that twin tower, Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. I've been looking at games over the past couple of days of the Cavs and seeing Evan Mobley hitting that 3 ball. I think that's what unlocks the Cavs. That's what's gonna make. I think Evan Mobley is the X factor because if he's hitting shots, if he's hitting threes, and is able to space the floor for Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell, I think this team can upset a lot of the teams that y'all think might be over them. So they're my most underrated team in the playoffs, in my personal opinion. They have a certified bucket in Donovan Mitchell. They have a certified facilitator in Darius Garland. And then they have the Twin Towers down low with Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. And then that 3 spot can be whoever you want. Max Strus he's been okay. He's been really good shooting the ball. And defensively, he's okay. But you have Isaac Okoro. You have Karis LeVert coming off the bench. I think this team has everything you need for playoff success. Because I feel like people underrate Donovan Mitchell's superstardom. Like, I think Donovan Mitchell is top 2 or top 3 shooting guard in the league. And he's had moments. He's one of the clutch players. We've seen him in Utah. Let's not forget that he was one of the most clutch players in the league. He's led him and Rudy Gobert. With Rudy Gobert being his second best player, it's kind of hard to have a good offense. But Donovan Mitchell was able to do that with his offensive firepower, his shooting, his ability to attack the rim, his ability to put pressure on the defense that he's playing against. And I don't know if the Magic are going to be able to handle what he's about to bring to them. Like, you're going to have Jalen Suggs, obviously, on Donovan Mitchell. But even when Donovan Mitchell's not on, you still have Darius Garland. This team is just OD scary, in my personal opinion. I wouldn't want to face the Cavs. But, so we're going to see the Cavs and Magic matchup. I don't think Wendell Carter has what it takes to even bump with Evan Mobley and Jared Allen down low. It just doesn't even seem like a great matchup for them. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But, I don't know. The Cavs are definitely scary to me. So, the next team that we're going to talk about is the Milwaukee Bucks. And me personally, I am not a firm believer in what the Milwaukee Bucks have. Like, I know since Doc Rivers came, we've seen the defense become a lot better than obviously when they had Adrian Griffin. But I don't like the personnel. Like, I feel like, okay, you're looking at your best perimeter defenders to be a older Pat Bev. You're looking at Chris Middleton. You're looking at Malik Beasley. Like, it's not a good recipe for them to be successful in the playoffs. So I don't believe that they're going to make it far. That's just my personal opinion. Obviously, they have the star power. They have Dame. They have Giannis. They have Chris Middleton, which I wouldn't even say star. Bobby Portis has looked amazing for them in the minutes that he does play. I think Brook Lopez has taken a step back. He's low-key. His defense is looking like it's a little shaky, especially when they get him in that pick and roll, because now they're trying to do what they used to do, where like they'll just let you have the mid range, which I don't think is a successful way to play, especially with the talent that we're seeing in the NBA now. You can't just let people get the mid range and let them get hot. That's just a disaster waiting to happen. Like you want to lose. So, but obviously they have Giannis and Dame. So obviously in the first round against the Pacers, I still have them coming out on top. But if they played a 76ers or a Heat, I wouldn't be as certified on them making it to the next round. But yeah, Giannis has been amazing this season. I have Giannis in my top 5 MVP voting. He would be like 5, but they have been good. I wouldn't say amazing, but the duo of Dame and Giannis looks good together. I just think that it's scary to not have a guy like that you can rely on the defensive end. So I feel like if Dame or Giannis is having an off game, then I think that this team will lose that game. So we will see. I could be wrong. I know I have friends and people that watch the podcast that are big Milwaukee Bucks fans. I'm not saying that I'm going to be completely right throughout the whole playoffs, or I'm going to be completely right about this team. That's what takes are. So maybe I might be wrong about this take, but I'm not as confident in the Bucks, especially in the next round. When we get into it, I'll let you know that I'm not confident. If the predictions go the way that I think they're going to go, then I'm definitely not confident in the Bucks in the next round. But let's talk about the New York Knicks. New York Knicks basketball, man. When Julius Randle got injured, I thought that this team was going to be around like a 5, maybe 6 seed. They were on a run early in the season, and I think that they made decisions over the offseason, over the trade deadline, like I talked about in my video. If you didn't watch my trade deadline video, go watch that. I talked about the big acquisitions of OG Anunoby, Bojan Bogdanovic, Alec Burks. Like, I think those are like very underrated pickups. I didn't think that the Knicks necessarily needed to make a big splash. I think they just needed to fill out their depth issues, and I think that they did. You see, with Jalen Brunson, I'm like the jump that Jalen Brunson is taking this year. I did not think that was happening. I remember at the beginning of the season when the Knicks paid Jalen Brunson all that money for him to come to the team. I'm like, yeah, they're crazy. Like, what do they think they have in Jalen Brunson, man, that we haven't seen? And for once in a while, the Knicks were actually correct about their thought that they had. Like, I think Jalen Brunson has been arguably a top 4, top 3 point guard in the league this season. I'm gonna say top 4 because you obviously got the guys like Shea, Luka, Steph. Those are obviously like the guaranteed top 3. But I'm gonna say like top 4. So yeah, they've been amazing. But with Jalen Brunson out, I mean with Julius Randle out, I didn't think that they would be able to keep this 2 seed that they have now, or be in the top 3 seeds. But they definitely went higher than my expectations, and they're looking amazing. Like I love Knicks basketball. I think Knicks basketball is finally back. If you're a Knicks fan, I would be very excited. You have Isaiah Hartenstein, who's really good, Mitchell Robinson, who's also very good, and then you got obviously Jalen Brunson holding it down. So, yeah, I love the Knicks. I think that their first round going against the 76ers in my prediction is going to be a very, very, very hard matchup. I'm thinking 7 games, maybe 6, but I'm thinking 7 games. I just don't see a world where Isaiah Hartenstein or Mitchell Robinson is going to have to bang with Joel Embiid. They better hope that Joel Embiid's not healthy, because if he's healthy, I feel like Joel Embiid is eating the Knicks apart, even though they do have great defense. Oh, my fault. I didn't even talk about Donte DiVincenzo. Donte DiVincenzo is the most underrated player in basketball, the most underrated role player in basketball. The stuff that he's doing, the threes, the hustle plays, the defense, I feel like Donte DiVincenzo is somebody that people need to talk more about. I don't hear much about Donte DiVincenzo and he's playing almost every minute of the game. Last night, he played, I believe, 53 minutes in the game. He played the whole game, never sat. That is GOAT stuff. Like, he's the most underrated player in basketball for me. So, yeah, that's my take on the Knicks. So now we got the number 1 seed, Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics are crazy. The Boston Celtics are definitely my favorite for the whole East. I just don't see a world where you're beating Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Kristaps Porzingis. I personally just think that there's way too much going on. I feel like the pickup of Drew and Porzingis has now put them over the hump. I know a lot of people talk about, oh my God, like they've been here before. They've been to the playoffs and been to these predicaments before, and they can't get it through. They can't win. This is different. This is a whole different team. They have Drew and Porzingis. That is 2 bona fide. Drew Holiday being a bona fide, one of the top 5, top 10 perimeter defenders in the league, next to who I think is a better defender, Derek White, who is definitely a top 5 defender in the league, in my personal opinion. I don't care what anybody says. If you watch Derek White play defense, it's amazing. The way that his IQ on the defensive end is great. He just knows where to be at the right time. And then you have Porzingis, who was last year on the Wizards was so underrated. People were looking at him like, put him on watch, because he's averaging over like 20, he was averaging like 25, 26 points, being 7'3", and also deflecting shots at the basket. And don't forget about the vet in Al Horford coming off the bench. So I personally feel like this team just has too much superstar power and to be taken out in the East. That's just my personal opinion. I feel like the East is a weaker conference, obviously, than the West, but I feel like it's a weaker conference, and I feel like the Celtics were the overwhelming favorite throughout the whole season, having 64 wins. So I think that in order for the Celtics to lose, I think we have to see an injury. You have to see, because I think even with Jason Tatum being a little, he's a little icy hot when it comes to the playoffs, and even with him having a cold game, you still have the other people to make up for it, like Jaylen Brown, Kristaps, Derek White, and Drew. Derek White has definitely taken a jump on the offensive end as well. He's not just a defender. He can shoot with the best of them. He can attack the rim. He can play make. I think this team is just built perfectly. I think they have everything that you need to be a successful. Wow, I just lost my whole train of thought. To be a successful playoff team, they have the defense, they have the offense, they have the star power, they have the people that have been there before. I just feel like you don't want to see the Celtics in a 7-game series. You just don't want to see that. So yeah, that right there is my thoughts on each team. So let's talk about what I think who's going to win each playoff series. So we got obviously 1-8, who I said is obviously going to be a death match with the Celtics and Miami. But like I said, I think the Celtics got that. I think the game probably ends up going to about I think 5 or 6, just because Jimmy Butler's gonna win two games at least. Like 2 games at least. It's Jimmy Butler. Like it's Jimmy Buckets. He's gonna win 2 games at least. So I think 5 or 6 personally. And then with the 2-7 matchup of the Knicks versus the 76ers, I think it can go either way in my personal opinion. But I'm gonna give it the nod to the Knicks in 7, because I don't think that Joel Embiid is going to be as healthy as we're expecting. But next season, if the 76ers can keep their whole team, you're having an emerging Tyrese Maxey with a very healthy Joel Embiid. At the beginning of the season, when James Harden went over to the Clippers, I'm thinking this team is not going to be as good. And I think they would have been a top 5 seed if Joel Embiid didn't get injured. So obviously right now they look like they did drop off because James Harden left. But no, it's really just due to health. So I think that with them being the 7th seed next season, they're going to be definitely a top 5 seed with health. So yeah, so I got the Knicks winning in, I'll say, 7. So then with the 3-6 matchup, which will be the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Indiana Pacers, I'm tripping. The Milwaukee Bucks and the Indiana Pacers. I have the Milwaukee Bucks obviously winning in the first round. Like I said, I think that the Bucks have too much. I think Giannis is obviously used to this playoff series. He's won MVPs. He's won a championship with Milwaukee, and I just think just having that over a team like the Pacers that haven't had much playoff success. I know you have Pascal, who is a champion, but I don't think that is going to be able to weigh up against Giannis and Dame. So I got the Bucks winning, and I think 5, maybe 6. I'll say 5 for the Bucks. And then we're going to see the Cavs versus the Magic, which I think is going to be a very great matchup. I like I said, if I'm a team, I wouldn't want to see the Cavs in the 7-game series, and I think that the Cavs are going to win this one in 6. I want to say 7, but I just don't think that the Magic have what it takes to match up against the Cavs. I think that they're just the Cavs are too big down low to the point where Wendell Carter and Mo Wagner are going to struggle, especially with Paolo and Evan Mobley. I think that's going to be a hard matchup for Paolo, in my personal opinion. I think when Paolo goes against bigger defenders, I think Paolo's been less effective. So I think that we're going to see the Cavs win in 6. Okay, so with the Celtics beating the Miami Heat in their round, and then the Cavs beating the Magic in their round, we'll see them face each other in the second round. And I personally think that this is where we get a 7-game series or a 6-game series out of the Celtics. This is going to be a very good game. I think that the Celtics obviously have a lot of star power, but I think that the Cavs have that Donovan Mitchell clutch time factor that might give the Celtics a run for their money. I feel like if the Celtics are not playing up to speed for a game or two, they could definitely lose 2 games. And I think that low-key that the Celtics play to their opponent. So if the opponent's playing bad, they'll play bad as well. So I personally think that this game could go to 6. I love the matchup between the Celtics and the Cavs, but I just think that Darius Garland or Donovan Mitchell are going to have to guard somebody that they really don't want to have problems guarding. I'm telling you, like they're going to have to guard somebody that they don't want to guard. And I just think that the Celtics are going to just overpower them in this game. So I think it's going to go to 6. And then in the next matchup, we'll see with my predictions, we'll see the Bucks versus the Knicks, which this is the game that I'm so ready for. I think with Tom Thibodeau's coaching and Tom Thibodeau's play style, we're gonna see probably like a 7-man rotation for real. We're gonna see Dante DiVincenzo in the game for the whole game. We're gonna see Josh Hart in the game all the time. We're gonna see OG Anunoby play like all the minutes. So I think that this game is gonna come down to the wire, and I think that the Knicks have what it takes to guard Damian Lillard and Giannis. So I'm very, very, very intrigued to see what happens. I hope this matchup is something that we do see in the playoffs, so I can actually see what might happen. I'm gonna give my hot take. This is gonna be hot. I know the Bucks probably will be the favorite in this series. So even though the Knicks are the higher seed, but you know how people work with Giannis and Dame, they're obviously gonna have the Bucks higher odds of winning that game. So I'm gonna go on a hot take and go on a limb and say that the Knicks eliminate the Bucks in this round. I'd say it's gonna go to 7. But I think that somebody's gonna fizzle out. It might be Dame. I feel like they need the X factor in this game for the Bucks is definitely Chris Middleton. Whatever Chris Middleton that we're getting is going to be the deciding factor of this game, of this whole playoff run. We need to see the Chris Middleton that was in that finals run. If we see him like that, then I don't think that this Bucks team can be defeated realistically. So I'm gonna go on the limb and say that the Knicks win in 7. Yeah, I just don't like the defense, like I said, that I see from the Bucks, and I think that Jalen Brunson is gonna get whatever he wants realistically. So I'm gonna say Knicks in 7. So here we are in the next round, going against the Celtics. And here we are in the next round where we're gonna have the Celtics and the Knicks match up in the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, I don't really like this matchup for the Knicks, man. I think that the Celtics have way too much for them to guard. You're gonna have Kristaps get his revenge on one of his old teams, which is gonna be really nice to see. I think Kristaps is gonna be the X factor on the Celtics team. Kristaps is gonna definitely be a 20 to 25 point per game scorer, and then you have the defense that he provides. Only thing is, I think he needs to get more rebounds as a 7-3 guy. I feel like he should be in that averaging that 10 rebounds or averaging 11 rebounds on this season. I just feel like with the opportunities that he has, he should be able to get the rebound and push it with all the players that he has. And the upside of the playmaking that Porzingis has, I actually like Porzingis' playmaking over a lot of other big men in the league. But yeah, so then them going against the Knicks, I think you're gonna see a lot of ISO basketball, and I think they do have the defenders to be able to guard Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. But I think it just comes down to that they both have a top defensive roster, but I think that the offensive capabilities that they have, that they will be able to run through Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Drew Holiday, Porzingis, and Derek White is way more than the offensive things that they'll be able to run through Jalen Brunson. I feel like all the offense on the Knicks is Jalen Brunson, Dante DiVincenzo. Really, those are the two main offensive players that I would be looking out for on that team. OG Anunoby as well when he's hot, but I just don't think that the Knicks have what it takes to beat the Celtics. But I think this is a great year for the Knicks if they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. So if I'm a Knicks fan, I wouldn't even be mad at this season that they had, that you saw, if this is how it plays out. Only way I'm mad as a Knicks fan is if we lose in the first round, or if we only if we lost in the first round. If y'all lost in the second round, it'd be okay. But if y'all lost in the Eastern Conference Finals, I think that's a perfect place. Obviously, you would have loved to go to the finals, but I don't think that was a realistic wish from the Knicks this season. So next season, y'all are definitely going to be a lot better. I don't know if Julius Randle is going to come back for this playoff series, but I mean for this playoff run. But if he does come back, then I feel like y'all do have a higher chance. But even with Julius Randle, I honestly think y'all might play worse, just because I feel like Julius Randle is a shot chucker. I feel like he does ruin the flow of the offense, and I like the ball just being in Jalen Brunson's hands. So I don't think Julius Randle is going to help out. So I got Celtics in 6, maybe 7. 7 probably, because they do have really great defense. So that means that the Celtics are my finals prediction. I predicted the Boston Celtics would go to the finals at the beginning of the year, at the start of the regular season. So, because even with all the talent at the beginning, I knew that they were going to be amazing. 64 wins. I even thought that they would get more, which they should have. But they blew leads and blew games to teams that they should have beat, which is okay. It happens. Stuff happens. Even when they blew those leads to the Hawks and DeJounte Murray dropped 44 with 44 shots, I still believe that didn't make me look at the Celtics any different. I feel like those are losses that you need to have in the regular season, so you are prepared for times like that. So yeah, that didn't make me scared or make me even worried about the Celtics competition. So I have the Celtics going to the finals and probably winning the finals. Honestly, I already know who my Western Conference prediction is to be in the finals, but I'm not going to tell y'all yet. You're going to have to see in the Western Conference video, which I will drop soon. But yeah, so with the Eastern Conference coming to a close, I really love what I'm seeing. And then now with them might be expanding the league where we might get a Seattle team and a Vegas team, we're going to see one of the Western Conference teams move over to the East, which is looking like it's going to be Minnesota, which is good because I think that the Eastern Conference needs more comp. I think that compared to the Western Conference, it's just not enough. It's not enough teams that are really, really good, you know? So I feel like Minnesota going over to the East, either Minnesota or the Pelicans, either one, that would add comp to the East that I think is needed for it to be matched up evenly with the West. I feel like one of these eventually down the line, I would hope that the East and West could be evenly matched, but over the years we just seen that the Western Conference is just too good. But because obviously all the players want to play on the West, all the players want to play in California and stuff like that, which makes sense. But still, I just wish there was some way we could get more great players on the Eastern Conference teams. But yeah, so that is my predictions. Leave down in the comments who you personally think is going to make the NBA Finals, or if you want to talk about a series, I'm always open to talk. DM me on the Comeback Pod, or just try to chat with me. I'm if you're on campus, if you're watching and you're a Morehouse student, if you're on campus and you see me, I love talking about basketball. I love basketball takes. Just talk to me. Yeah, we can talk about whatever you want to say, or if there's a take that I said that you personally don't like, then that's okay. In the Eastern Conference, there's really not much room for error in my personal opinion, because most of the matchups you can obviously tell who has the upside, and I just don't think that any of the matchups are really too even in my personal opinion. So that's why the East is really easy for me. But my Western Conference predictions is where it gets like a little more like maybe the lower seed might win over a 1 seed or something like that. Predictions, you know what I'm saying? I'm throwing stuff out there, throwing some spoilers out there for the Western Conference video. But yeah, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, and thank you for watching the video today. And I appreciate every single one of y'all for watching me. And make sure you go watch the previous videos that I dropped. I understand it's not really content that I usually drop on the page, and it's more gaming, but still, just tune in. I'm trying to do stuff that maybe you might like on the channel, or I'm just trying to build up my catalog and build up my audience. So yeah, I appreciate y'all for everything, man. Thank you, and welcome to the Comeback Pod. And yeah, we out, man. Appreciate it.
Pop out right now, pull my big one on these hoes down. I'm not acrobatic, I'm not flipping on my bros. No, all my shit be factual, I cannot get exposed. Grew up talking shit, I catch a bitch before I catch a cold.